Not very much. Okay. How will we paraphrase the first sentence? The income earned by most primary products. The income, the money, wages, earned by most primary products. Come on, I'm scaffolding you guys. What are primary products year 10? Sorry, yeah, they're fairly fixed. And what are primary products? Raw materials. Agriculture and raw materials. The money earned, the money that raw materials and agriculture gets, little Shirley in year 10? Doesn't vary, doesn't change very much. Hasn't got a big range to change over. Okay. Is that more comprehensible than that original sentence? Okay, what about the next one? The quantity of food consumption is constrained by biological necessity and population growth in rich countries. Now, the quantity of food consumption, how much it's eaten, is constrained by, is limited by. Now, immediately we see that's a passive voice, don't we? So that is limited by. So this other thing is going to limit it. It's going to control it. Okay, and what's it controlled by? Biological necessity. Human needs. Thanks, Lana, in year 10. And by human needs and how many people are eating. So what that second sentence is saying is how much we need and how many people are eating determines how much food's eaten. Well, you'd say, surprise, surprise. Well, you would, wouldn't you? I mean, surprise, surprise.
In rich countries.
In rich countries, yeah. No, that's right, in rich countries. But the point I wanted to make is, remember when we first read that sentence, how available was the meaning? And see how available it is when we paraphrase. And the third one, increased incomes are spent on manufactures and services. So the increased amounts we earn goes into what? It goes into man-made goods and services. It doesn't go into the raw materials. So immediately when we visualise all the occupations. What would you want to be when you leave school, kids? A farmer? No. Well, also, would you want to go into exporting our resources? No. Where's the money being made? But Anna, I mean, we might be getting much more if we were doing things with the goods. Okay. All right. You can see the power of paraphrasing. Now, I've scaffolded you. How did we paraphrase those sentences? Well, now let's just look at these first. So imagine if I had a group of kids reading that, struggling through something like that, and I scaffolded them to do all of that, and then we looked at it again, and what this one says is the money farmers earn doesn't go up or down much. So who'd want to be a farmer? Or farmers' wages don't change much. Now, when the children can actually see it like this, they can see the sentence and they can see the paraphrases. Or they can suggest, see, if I had been skillful and I was good at using an interactive whiteboard, I could type in two of their responses and actually let them see the paraphrasing happening. Then we've got the other ones. You can see how it can work. How the paraphrasing can really deliver the goods. Now, at St Bernard's, in West Essendon, where we've been teaching paraphrasing this year, initially, the school from year 7, year 8, year 9, year 10, there was a group of teachers who taught the children, the boys, in term 1, how to use Getting Knowledge Ready and the vocab. And at the beginning of term 1, before they did it, they used the torch, one of the texts on the torch, to assess where the kids were. And at the end of term 1, they assessed the boys' torch, their reading again. And we got an effect size of about 0.6. Now, an effect size of 0.6 is it says that teaching was really effective. Now, at the end of term 2, During term 2, they taught the children to paraphrase and to visualise. And again, they did the torch at the end of term 2. And I've got the data on my computer, I can show you for some of the classes. The boys really improved. The effect size was again about 0.6. But for the children, what I did was, with each of the classes, I divided the boys into the bottom half and the top half and looked at the improvement for each half. And I'll tell you, the bottom half really improved. The bottom half of the children, by being taught to get their knowledge ready, went up. And if you talk to anyone into stats, what does an effect size of 0.6 mean? They'll say an effect size of 0.6 is a good effect. That's 0.6 of a standard deviation. It's lifted them up. That's not bad. So these things will really work. They will lift kids' performance. Okay, now just before we finish, how did we do it? When you're going to paraphrase a sentence, what do you look for first? Good. Have we already done this? We talked about this before. Have we done this? About the verb? Yeah. The verb is really the key part of any sentence. Now this sentence is a difficult one because it's got 2 verbs. But actually the key verb is this one, varies. Because this is like a subject clause, the income earned by most primary products. But if I'm going to teach children how to paraphrase it, the first thing they need to become aware of is the verb, because that's what my scaffolding needs to draw their attention to. So if we're going to paraphrase it, we'll pick out changes first for the verb. Then we'll say, okay, what farmers earn, where we paraphrase the first bit, synonyms first bit, and then the last bit. So the children being aware of how to paraphrase. You see, my scaffolding, I was leading you to do it. And I was getting you to just pick out some words. If I'd said, okay, try and replace this by a phrase, that would have been harder. But if I break there, the income earned, or the wages earned, you can see how at the verb you can segment it. And so if you're wanting to scaffold children to do this, you need to take control of that. You need to guide them to suggest other words for one phrase or another phrase. And so some of the key steps involved in doing this, the first thing you've got to make sure the kids note, and you might have to draw their attention to, is the topic of the text. And then they need to learn how to segment the sentence into separate little parts or events, and then swap synonyms for each one of them, and then link them into a sentence. And then make sure that the sentence, the new sentence, matches what was already there. Now this is all in your notes, isn't it? But they're the things you'll need to scaffold the students to do. And so this is what I'd like us to practice in a minute, doing this.